Is the real estate market going to crash? Is now a good time to buy or sell? Are we going to see what happened in 2008 is a discussion of this conversation. You're going to be watching us have some behind the scenes, some conversation, and obviously talking to you. I'm Krista Mashore with Homes by Krista and eXp Realty.
Josh Vitale, Homes by Krista and eXp as well.
I'm with Debbie Galvan, your lender for life with Empire Home Loans.
Okay, so we're doing this right now because people are freaking out about the market. We keep getting asked, Krista, Josh, Debbie, is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? What should I do right now? As we know, right now in the news, all we hear about is the negativity, the recession, the war, interest rates, inflation. Inflation is at an all-time high more than the past 41 years as of right now. So people are really, really fearful. So this conversation today is just going to be helping you understand, like, what should I do and to help you make a best decision. Of course, you can always call us after. So where are we at?
Appreciation. Let's talk appreciation.
Okay, appreciation. Good.
Yes. So on average, over the next 5 years, we're still expected to appreciate on our homes.
So let's take a look at that, right? So this is the average appreciation for Contra Costa County right now. The median home price right now in Contra Costa County is $864,000, all right? So over the past 63 years, we've seen an average of 5.5% increase in homes year by year. Over the past 10 years, we'd have an average of 7.54% increase. And over the past 5 years, we've had an average of 7.67% increase in home prices. The cumulative for over the past year has been 7.65, and over 5 years, 29.44%, which is a lot.
A lot.
So, I mean, that's historically not normal, correct?
Right, right.
Okay. So, Josh, you were talking earlier, we were saying about, your thoughts on sellers are worried right now. Oh my gosh,
the sky's
if I sell it,
falling.
I'm losing.
Right, the sky's falling. But just kind of what you said with regards to appreciation is we've seen appreciation of basically 30% in the last 5 years on average. What's that mean is the sellers have grasped all this value. And so now we're seeing, hey, interest rates are going up a little bit, but they've still gotten that, tons of value.
Right.
So we were
They've made a lot of money on their
They've made a lot of money. You've made hundreds of thousands of dollars in the last 5 years on your home. So if you're thinking about selling, yes, it still is a really good time to sell. What are we seeing? Right, Debbie? We chatted this week, this week,
all the time,
about interest rates and what can a buyer do and what can a seller do to keep a buyer in contract. What were you saying about that?
So this is really important to listen to everyone, right? So buyers are finally in a position where they can purchase a home. Now the difference is that in the past 2 years, we've had bidding wars, multiple offers. You had to remove every contingency under the sun to get a property. We've seen homes sell for $50,000. $75,000, $120,000 above list price, and we've had people put down the difference in cash. So that's not happening now, which is a great thing for a buyer. Now sellers are worried because, oh my gosh, I should have sold 6 months ago, but you've made so much money. So let's talk about the advantages of a buyer right now in this market and how a seller can still capitalize on selling with just doing things a little bit differently. Debbie.
So I've been talking to all of my buyers about potentially using a 2% closing cost credit so that they can buy down their rate. So rather than having the seller lower the price by, let's say a buyer is going to buy a house for $650,000. Instead of that seller lowering the price by $10,000, instead we can do a 2% credit towards their closing cost credit. It saves them, if the seller were to lower the price by $10,000, it saves them $54 a month versus giving a 2% closing cost credit to help lower the rate. It's going to save them $297 a month.
And here's why that's important, because the buyers, when you give a closing cost credit to buy the interest rate down for the buyer's payment goes down, so the buyer has more affordability.
Yes.
Buyer is winning, and so is the seller. So, and that in that regard, that's only a 1 point buy down, right? So, in this market, things are starting to soften a bit. Yeah. So if you go for a 1 point, 1.5 point, maybe even a 2 points, right? Instead of lowering a house, say 750, 800, 25 or 30 grand, you do a 2 point buy down. Right. And it's double that. You're looking upwards of $600 or $700 that a buyer's going to save per month. So if you do that on a 1 or 2 years, they're at a 4%, 3.5%. Who knows what that's going to be? But it's going to save them. It's going to keep a buyer in contract. seller wins, and so does a buyer.
Right.
Now, let's be realistic. That does not mean that right now as a seller, you're not going to have to think about still reducing your price and also even still giving a credit. And I don't want to be sounding all doom and gloom. I'm just being very honest with you. We have had more price reductions in the past month than we've had in the past 8 months. So right now, the market's just normalizing. Now, people are so worried about the interest rates. Oh my gosh, they're 5%. That's still so low, right? Having a 3% interest rate is historically not normal. We are just normalizing. The market is not crashing. The market is normalizing.
Right.
But what makes it difficult for a buyer is the fact that we have seen so much appreciation, almost 30% over the past 5 years, that houses have gone up so much that it's harder for a buyer to qualify now. So that's the difference, right? So that's a great option, buying down the interest rate.
And I think too, as a buyer, what they really have to wrap their heads around is that your cash flow today may be a little bit lower. It may be cheaper to rent if you're just looking at today, which is easy to do, right?
Absolutely.
So it's super easy to do. However, you have to look at your future.
Right.
And here, especially in California, you cannot be building wealth and getting ahead if you're not owning real estate. And that is how people are going to do it. So if an average house here in Contra Costa County is going up by $200,000, right?
Let's take this. So right now, the average median price is $864,000 in Contra Costa County. So let's just take a home that we have, on Continente. So let's just say it's a $900,000 purchase price, right? Which I know seems crazy, but that's pretty much the average, right? So if you were to rent that property every single month, you would be paying for rent on the property about $5,200 a month. All right. Now, to buy the property, you would be paying about $5,500 a month. So it's a little bit more to own the property. But then you have to think about, you have the appreciation, the anticipated appreciation. And believe it or not, it's quite substantial. They are anticipating, we'll go over that in a second, what the anticipated increase is going to be. But you're also going to be able to have the tax advantage of owning a home and writing off the interest. Obviously, talk to your accountant, talk to your financial advisor about that. We are not accountants, but there is a advantage. And like even back, you, Debbie,
yes,
you were just saying how with you owning a home, you bought a house when?
In 2020.
And what were you told when you bought the house?
Everyone was worried about the market because we were at the beginning of the pandemic. Most people were hunkering down. We were out looking for homes. So most people were telling us, are you crazy? Now's not the time. But we needed a place to live. So we were out looking for a home. We ended up buying at the bottom of the market. If you look at a graph today, the month and the year we bought was the best time to have bought a home, but nobody knew it at the time. Nobody knew.
And now what's happening with your taxes? So you talk about your taxes.
Oh, yeah. So you're able to write off. I'm not a tax person, right? I have to say that.
None of us are.
None of us are. But you can write off your interest on a loan right now
up to
$750,000, and then write off your property taxes all get factored in. And so, yeah, it was the first time I've ever been able to get a tax refund over the last 6 years.
So she got money back over the past 6 years.
On one of my best years. I'm a mortgage lender, so I was very busy. And on one of my best years, I was able to get.
So you made the most amount of money, and you actually, for the first time in 6 years, were able to get money back on your taxes.
Because I owned a home.
And you also got to remember too, as a buyer, as a renter, you're paying $2,800 a month. The next year it goes up to $2,800, $2,850, $2,900. You're up to $3,000. And in that 5 years where you would have gained appreciation by getting into the market, instead, your $2,800 house payment is now $3,500, so you're paying $700 more a month, right? That's $7,000. It just keeps going. Where if you're on the sidelines, not wanting to get in, it's costing you money in that long run, depreciated over many years.
Yes. Because I'll tell you, my house has way outperformed my 401k, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
And rents have just gone up. I know when
They
you
just
said
keep going up.
$5,200 to rent that house, I was, it kind of made me catch my breath a little. But there's a house down the street from me. I'm in Shadow Lakes that's for rent for $4,500.
Wow.
That's so much money.
So we're going to show this graph too right here, appreciation after 9 years. Now, and I mean, you're almost, so if you were to purchase, the forecast is that you're going to make about 6.26% total when you own a home. So the historical over the next 9 years. So 6.26% each year over the next 9 years. Historically, it's been about 5.5%. So if you purchase a home at $900,000, you're going to your $900,000 house is going to turn into $1,457,000.
Right.
So you're basically making, that's almost what, that's around $550,000 over the next 9 years that you'll make. So we should have started this video on like, do you want to make $550,000?
Right.
Or even half of that.
Or even half of that? Let me stick around, we'll show you how.
Krista, you're probably, of all of us, I don't know, maybe not you, but how much are you making on your savings account? Are you making 6%?
No, I'm not making anything.
Yeah. Nobody makes any money on their savings account.
I'm not making anything.
Maybe 2% if you have a CD. Right?
Oh, so look at guys and gals, people. So on a $900,000 home, the forecast average per year is around $72,000 a year that you'll make right now in this market with everything. Now, this is a forecast from expert real estate experts, expert economists. They're not just people saying, they're people that actually study the market, study historical trends. You'll make around $72,000 a year. That's the forecast each year. Now, historically, it's been around $61,000, almost $62,000. So here's what we want to kind of say to you is that sellers, do you feel like you missed the boat a little bit? Maybe you have a little bit, but really you haven't. If you look at what you've made over the past 6 years, you have gained historically way more than normal. And we all knew that at some point things were going to have to settle down, right? Buyers. Now let's talk about buyers. Over the past several years, in order to get a home as a buyer, you had to sell your children, sell your soul, remove all contingencies, go way above list price. Out-of-pocket
appraisal.
Out-of-pocket appraisal. I mean, you paid way more than the home was worth. So let's just do the math, and this has happened to us several times over the past couple of years.
Let's do this.
Okay, I want to put this into perspective for you as a buyer, all right? So in the past, you were paying $30,000 more, in most cases, out of pocket to get a $500,000 home because of all the competition.
Over the appraisal.
Over the appraisal.
Out of pocket.
Right, out of pocket.
Not getting that back.
So that's $30,000. Well, right now you have to pay $600 more a month, okay? So if you take $600 more a month and you divide that, divided by 600, that means it's going to take you 50 payments, 50 more payments that you're going to have to make. That's the difference of either paying $30,000 or paying $600. You're just paying now that difference of $30,000 over a longer time. You guys following me? Mm-hmm. Okay. So that is how many years divided by 12. It's basically going to take you 4 years. It's a difference of 4 years. You're just paying, instead of paying $30,000 at one time, you're paying $600 over 4 years. Makes sense? So it's the same thing, but pretty much it's just the money's different. So that's how you have to kind of look at it. Before most buyers didn't even have an opportunity to get a house because there was so much competition. Now you have chances.
Right. My neighbor tried to sell their house and there was 20 offers on the house. That means 19 people did not get into a home.
And now those 19 will be able to get into a home. Though it's a higher interest rate, they're still going to be able to get in and be happy about it.
So call us, talk to us. Debbie's got amazing financing options. We're smart about how we're helping sellers and buyers really navigate this market, and we know that we can help you. Buying down the interest rate's a great idea for a seller. You still may have to lower the price a little bit. Be really realistic. You cannot just throw a sign up anymore. And you need to do proper marketing, have a strong negotiator, and someone who absolutely knows the market. And we're going to go ahead and say goodbye. But before that, so you can chop this up, or you can keep watching if you want to. I want to explain something about the crash in 2008, okay? And Debbie, we know this.
Yeah.
In 2008, the market crashed for reasons that are not happening today. In 2008, they were giving loans that were stated income loans, which means that you could get a loan without supplying taxes, calling the employer, showing how much you made. That you would just say, I make this much money, and you'd be able to get the house, okay? That's not happening anymore. That's a huge reason why we had the crash. Also, another reason why we had the crash was because they were selling D paper, loans that were D and F paper. They were selling them off as if they were A paper, all right? Another reason. That's definitely not happening anymore. And lastly, homes were appraising from 1 week to the next. You'd have the same exact home on the same street with the same specs that would, in the same weeks, sell for $100,000 more than the last house. That's not happening anymore either. So, the lending requirements are different. And lastly, one last thing I wanted to talk about. There is more equity in homes right now than there has been in a very, very long time. There are more homes right now that are completely paid off, that have no mortgage at all, than there have been in a very long time. The market, I would be shocked if it crashed. Is it going down? Absolutely yes. Have we seen it go down in the past 30 days? Yes, we have. All those things are happening, but it's just normalizing.
And I want to say who you use matters, because I will tell you, as I work with buyers, but a lot of them have to sell a home, they need a listing agent that's going to advertise their home, that's going to bring in people from other markets, that's going to use digital marketing, that knows how to negotiate, that's going to talk to you honestly. So I know a lot of times people want to use their cousin, their friend, whatever. This is not the market for it. You can no longer just put your house on Zillow, because in most cases, my clients need to sell that house in order to go buy the next house, right?
Yeah.
So I tell my sellers, my buyers, but sellers, who you use matters. Make sure you're interviewing your listing agents, using people that are going to use digital marketing and all of the things to get your house sold.
And we have a book that we're going to supply. We'll put a copy of a book up. You can get a copy of it. It tells you what questions you should ask, what you should look for. It's like if you want to get brain surgery, you're not going to go to the general practitioner. You're going to go to the brain surgeon, right? Someone who actually knows how to do it. I've been in the business for over 28 years. We've sold over 2,300 homes combined. We know this market. We live, eat, breathe, sleep it. We're experienced. And, the things that we have seen from unexperienced agents is really, really scary.
Yeah.
It's so easy to enter the real estate market as a real estate agent. It takes, not a lot of time. It takes more time to become an esthetician than it does a real estate agent. And you're dealing with your most valued asset. So many people are like, I'm worried about paying a 0.5% in commission, whereas we've been able to show that we sell our homes on average of around $166,000 more than our competitors do, based upon our experience, our negotiation, our expertise. So really be careful who you hire. It does matter. And a real estate transaction is one of the most complex transactions that you will ever deal with. And there are so many things that can go wrong because there are so many parties. And you need somebody who is proactive and vigilant and experienced to protect you and your most financial asset.
And just make sure that you just talk to agents that know the market, like Krista's saying, and know what's happening right now. Not what's happening 3, 4, 6 months ago, but right now. Because if you get an agent that is inexperienced, it could cost you thousands of dollars on the back end and not the front end.
Right.
We just talked to a seller yesterday, and their home has been on the market, and it has been an amazing time to sell over the past year. Because they hired an inexperienced agent and the home needs a little bit of help, a little bit of work, the home is sitting over the past year, which means it should have been drastically reduced, drastic renovations made, because they were selling during the hottest time and it didn't sell. So now they're really going to be in trouble because they hired somebody who didn't really understand the market. So we are just excited to talk to you. Hopefully, I'm Krista Mashore.
Josh Vitale.
Debbie Galvan.
And we just are hoping that this is helping for you. We're going to keep doing this more often. Let us know what your questions are. Let us know how we can help you. We're here to serve. And as always, make it a great
Home buying and selling day.